Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Autodesk Virtual Academy session brought to you by KETIV Technologies. I'm Nigel Mbayak, one of the application engineers here, and I am also joined by a couple of other members of the Lifeline team. We've got Jorge Fernandez over here, one of our more senior members of the team, as well as Daniel Puang, who will be your presenter today. So today's session is all about migrating to your new versions of the products. Whether or not you have custom content you need to move over or tons of file store you need to move, we'll definitely walk you through that entire process. If you do have any questions during today's session, feel free to type them into the questions bar that you have in the GoToWebinar panel on your screen. We'll definitely address those either during the session or during the Q&A area that we have after the presentation is over. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass the microphone over to Daniel to go ahead and get you through this.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Welcome to this week's AVA. We're going to be sharing about transitioning to 2017. And so before we do that though, I'm going to recap a little bit about last week just because they do tie together a little bit. Last week, Jose, a colleague here, talked about installing, downloading, activating your product, where to go, where to click, what not to do, what to do, as well as generating your license files if you're on a network license. And those are all great topics. And so if you missed that, please take a look at our YouTube channel. If you just search KETIV, you'll find that. You'll be able to find last week's AVA, and you'll be able to see exactly where to go to download your product 2017. But as for transitioning, we want to be able to use that product and transition to it as painlessly as possible from whatever version we're coming from, as long as it's not too old, something like 2013 or 2016. And so today's goal is to facilitate and to give you guys some best practice tips, tricks to make that transition, painless. So we're going to talk about AutoCAD Inventor. For AutoCAD, I want to talk about your workspace, the workspace that you were comfortable with. Maybe you customized it a little bit, added a few ribbons, took away some stuff. For those things, we want to make that usable in 2017 without creating too much of a mess. And in Inventor, we want to be able to use our files, all our IPTs and assemblies, and in 2017 without running into too much errors there, as well as if you have any custom materials, appearances, styles in your templates or any of your files, to be able to use those as well. And especially if you have any questions on those things, please type those in and we'll be able to address those later too. So yeah, just going straight into the demo here, I'm going to switch over to my other screen. All right, so as you can see, this is my AutoCAD 2016. It has a custom user interface at the top. You see I only have like 4 ribbons. If you follow me here, home, mesh, manage, layout. I just made a quick custom user interface for us to use here. It's called test, right? And so if we go to the bottom right, you'll see this workspace switching. And by clicking customize on the bottom, we'll get this custom user interface dialog. From here, we want to click the transfer tab at the top. Right? And then you'll see that your workspaces populate here. From workspaces, our current test workspace. We want to move this workspace to a local file that we can save down and move wherever we want. We want to then transfer that to 2017. And to do that, we're just going to click and drag over to the right side. Call it works under workspaces. Then we're going to save this file. I have one ready for me called AVA CUI. I'm going to click save. Replace, yes I do. All right, so in 2016, that's all you need to do to transfer over to that file. Close, minimize that. This is now my 2017, as you can see at the top. This does not have the custom interface. It has all of these ribbons and tabs that I do not want. Parametric view, none of that. I don't want any of that. I simply want test. And so going to the bottom right again, we're going to see that same customize button. I'm going to click that, and the windows are very similar. It should be very familiar, but we're just going to go backwards now. We're going to go to the transfer tab. We're going to open up that file, and you should see that test workspace right here, and we're going to drag that over to the left. All right. By clicking apply and OK, this is just going to set it up so that I can now switch to that custom workspace. By going to the bottom right, I can now select it. And now it's the workspace that I know and love with just 4 tabs at the top, right? So this way is very simple, and it's very easy, it's effective. You get exactly what you want, only what you want, and it's very good, and we recommend to do it this way. The second way you can also do it is to actually go to the Start menu at the bottom left by going to your Autodesk folder in All Programs here, and clicking that and going to your AutoCAD 2017. You'll find this Migrate Custom Settings folder. Right. From here, you'll see migrate from a previous release. This is a warning that's telling me that I've already migrated and I don't need to do this. But for those that have not migrated before, you should not see this window. But I'm going to go ahead and click yes anyways. From here, you should see this Migrate Custom Settings dialog box. Some of our customers who have already migrated to 2017 may have already seen this when they first ran their 2017. But just to reiterate and cover some of these things if you didn't know what they were, this user profile is going to just grab everything you used to have on your 2016 or 2015, including the CUI and the tool palettes. But the reason I didn't show you this before, even though it's more automatic, is because it actually imports even the default workspaces. And so if you don't want all that clutter, if you don't want all of those custom user interfaces, we recommend the previous way, because you get just the custom one that you want, not the default ones. And so it's really up to you whether or not you want to use this tool or the previous method that I just showed. This also covers plot files, templates, shapes, and all of that. So if I select all of them and hit OK, it'll migrate successfully. By clicking on it, that last dialog box is just if you want to see the log file and see what it actually migrated, you can read through it if you want. It's not too important. It's simply just a text file. Now I can go back to my AutoCAD and show you exactly what some of the things that migrated, and some of the differences between the manual and the automatic. Right. So it's the same. I still have my test one loaded and everything, but if we go here, it shows me which ones were migrated using that automatic tool. As you can see, it's the drafting and annotation and 3D modeling, 3D basics. These are all defaulted from 2016, and even those were picked up by this migration tool. So if you don't want that to happen, do not use this migration tool for that, and use the previous method. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is for this AutoCAD segment. I'm going to switch over to Inventor now real quick. For Inventor, the things we want to cover are migrating the files. So the best way to do that, or the simplest way, is if you have a lot of files, a lot of parts, assemblies, and you just want to get all of your projects over to 2017. We recommend using this task scheduler. You follow me to the bottom left Start menu. Just search for a task scheduler. You should see 2017 here. Opening this up, you'll see this task scheduler. What a task scheduler is, for those of you that have never used it, is it kind of automates simple tasks from Inventor, and you can use it to do various things, schedule them according to time or immediately if you want. I've done one already, but I'm going to show you guys where to go. At the top, there's a create task and then a migrate files. We're going to click that, and it's going to show this dialog box. You can add single files by clicking here, or you can add folders by clicking here. Right, and so the folder I've prepared is this scissors file. I'm just gonna I'm gonna add it to this, right? And I'm gonna want to do it immediately. I want to do it right now, and I'm gonna click OK. And it's just gonna run in the background. We recommend doing this maybe on some downtime, depending on how large these folders are. It can take some time, and it does require some memory to run. And so if you guys aren't willing to give up performance or anything like that, we recommend doing it when you're least affected by it. Yeah.
Let me just interject something really quick too. But for those of you, who might wonder, do I need to migrate every file, every single release? Not necessarily. We would recommend maybe just like your styles, I'm sorry, your standard parts, for example. Those you might want to consider doing every release because you're going to be using them, from time to time. But when it comes to projects that are not active anymore, that are done, you don't necessarily have to migrate those every time. Do keep in mind, though, if you're opening up a file that, let's say, came from like Inventor 2013, you're going to start working on that project that came up, then at that point you might decide, let's go ahead and migrate this folder or this project, right? But just kind of wanted to point that out, that you don't have to necessarily migrate every file, every single release.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you for that. And so, yeah, as you can see here, we can see that it completed, and now these, sorry, that was a misclick. As you can see, the status is completed, and now when I go to those folders, they're ready for 2017. I can just open them up, and they won't give me like a prompt or a dialog or anything like that. And so now that that's done, and now that our files are ready to go, there is actually still one thing that we still need to do, especially if you have custom templates or custom content centers. And that's because even though the files may be migrated, some of these things, in terms of internally within the file, they haven't been, specifically regarding to templates and styles. So first, what you'll find is that when I try to open a drawing file, it's gonna tell me that the templates in there are from an older version, and it's not going to let me open it. So what you actually need to do first is open up that template drawing right off the bat. So I have a custom drawing template ready for us to open up. I created that in 2016, and I'm opening it here in 2017. And so yeah, and then just saving it down, it's going to tell me it was from a previous release. This is saying you're migrating this style. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. I want to do that. Just make sure I did that. OK. And then I'm going to close out of this file. Now, theoretically, I should be able to open up a new drawing with that template, and I shouldn't have any problems using that old template from 2016. As you can see, there's this dialog box that tells me that there's a style conflict. You guys are going to run into this whenever you update and migrate these templates. And the reason for this is because the style library in 2017 and the style library in 2016, there's just a slight difference, not in functionality, but in terms of definitions and stuff like that, and where to look. And so we just want to update that really quick. And to do that, we're actually going to have to go ahead and open up that file again. Of course, we can always do this when we first open up the file, but I wanted to show you guys the dialog boxes and the errors that would show up. So I'm going to open up that custom template one more time. I'm going to go to the Manage tab at the top. And you'll see the Styles and Standards panel. The Styles editor is what you actually use to customize the styles, the fonts, etc. And we're going to actually look at the Save, Update, and Purge. So by clicking Save, what it does is it takes the local styles from this file and saves it to the style library that the inventor uses. By clicking Yes to All and then OK, it's going to let me update the style library. It's going to say it's going to overwrite a few things, but you can go ahead and click OK on that. It's not going to really affect much, right? And so and then the next step is to click Update. And what this does, it takes anything that's in the library that's not in your template file, and it makes them congruent. So Yes to All again, and OK. And then by saving this file, exiting out, and then starting a new drawing, you see that these dialog boxes all disappear, right? And that's where we want to be. We want to be here without any dialog boxes, error messages, anything in the way of our workflow. And so that's the recommended and best practice for getting this good to go. Another thing I forgot to mention is before any of this happens, you actually have to manage your projects really well. And so one thing to know is that if you're in the default project, you'll find that your templates folder are found here. And you can always edit this You can always go here to find your custom templates if you've saved them there, etc. But if you're like me and you use a different project, for instance, my AVA project that points the templates to here on my desktop, and I have my custom templates in there as well. Yeah, this is where I actually want to move my 2017 templates to, wherever my project is pointing to. Another thing to know, and another thing that's really important before starting any of this template updating, is to use or to make sure that you have the right permissions. And so whatever project you're in, please make sure to change the permissions on it for this use style library to read write. And by doing that, you'll have the permissions necessary to actually update and save and purge your styles library.
Hey, I want to add something too, actually, for those of you that are using Vault, don't forget that you'll need to check out the project first. So you'll want to check out the project. You'll want to then come in, sometimes if it's the first time you do it, you might still have to go to the working folder, right-click the file, and uncheck, go to Properties, and uncheck Read Only. Now, this usually only happens the first time. You shouldn't have to keep doing that every single time. And then when you've finally made your changes, you want to make sure you close Inventor, go to Vault Explorer, and check it in through there. And so again, just to kind of reiterate, you don't forget, if you're using Vault, you would have to check it out if it's not already checked out to you. You might have to uncheck Read Only in the Properties. And when you're done, close Inventor and check it into Vault.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great point. This is actually very much specific to single users or local program products. If you are using Vault, please give us a call. We want to walk you through that. It is a different workflow, and it is required that there's a few different steps that are required. And so if you guys have any questions on that, we're here for you guys. More than happy to help you guys with that process. And
one last thing on that, by the way, don't forget that when you make that change, don't forget to have all your other users get a latest version of that project too. That's very important if you've made changes to the actual project itself.
Thank you. Yeah, and so once it's read write, you have all the permissions necessary to edit your styles, your materials, and stuff like that. Last thing I want to cover is real quick, while we're here in this projects window, if you have content centers that are local to your computer or to your workspace, we want to update those to 2017 as well. And it's really quick, really easy. If we can go actually to the right side panel here, you'll see this menu for your content center libraries. Clicking that will open up this dialog box. And if we scroll down, we'll see that My Library, this is our custom content center library on the bottom, which should be read-write for us as well. We want to update that using this update tool. It's going to tell me that all my content centers are up to date. That's because I've already done this. But if you haven't, and if you have custom content in there, that was from 2016, please go ahead and click that update tool, and it will get you ready to use that content in 2017. Again, if you have anything from 2016 and you're using Vault as well, it's a little bit different, so don't be afraid to give us a call on how to do that as well.
Also, a quick reminder too, so if you notice when he's in that dialog box, there's those red ones, right? So those red ones do mean that one's not, won't work with this version of Inventor, by the way. That's what the red actually means. So for the new versions, the 2017 one, you want to actually install those usually, and then these can be removed. So if you're using the local content center, you'll notice there's a path right there at the top that shows you where it's at. If you're using it from Vault, you have to go to Vault and make sure that those are migrated instead, actually. So it is a slightly different process if you're using Vault. You have to log into the server, ADMS console, and in there make sure that it's migrated, which should happen when you do a Vault upgrade anyways.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much it for upgrading or migrating and transitioning to 2017 in terms of AutoCAD and Inventor. There are some things we still want to talk about a little bit, and I'm going to switch my screen over. Yeah, just to quickly summarize, we talked about AutoCAD, importing those custom workspaces, using the migrating tool if that's more convenient for you. And Inventor, we use the task scheduler to automate some of our migration to 2017. We also updated our styles for our custom templates and our custom content center library. We also wanted to update those to be usable in 2017. So I'm recommending the next steps, especially for those of you who are using Vault for any of these applications. It is a little bit different. If you are moving from 2016 Vault to 2017, there are some things that we recommend. First and foremost, we recommend using a recent backup that you know works, that you've tested on an environment that is safe for you guys to test on. Once that backup is secure, once you install 2017, that installation of Vault 2017 will recognize that you had an older version if you've had one. And it will migrate and recognize the file stores, the metadata, and it will migrate all of that automatically for you. And so if you're still weary of that process and you're still kind of hesitant, give us a call. We'll walk you through that, of course. And so we're here for you guys in that process. Another thing we would recommend you guys to take a look at is we had a few AVAs on what's new in AutoCAD and what's new in Inventor. Please take a look at that and see if AutoCAD 2017 and Inventor 2017 have anything that might appeal to you guys. And this specific AVA was for those customers who have custom workspaces already set up for AutoCAD and custom templates that they already use regularly and content center that's customized to their workflow and stuff like that. But if you're a user that wants to do those things and have not yet, please contact us, and we're more than happy to get that started for you guys at the very least. And we want to be able to help you guys in that process. One last thing to look at before stepping over to Q&A is to we just want to reiterate before moving forward with any system upgrades for AutoCAD 2017, Inventor 2017, or even Vault 2017, there are system requirements in terms of hardware. And so before making that transition, please make sure you have at least this bare minimum. You can always find this on the Autodesk website. This is for AutoCAD, Windows 10 supported, Windows 7 and 8, as well as your memory requirements, your video cards, all these things. These are bare minimum, but we always recommend our customers to go at least the recommended. For Inventor, this means again 7, 10, 8 Windows, 20 gigs of RAM for your Inventor. It's a little more graphics intensive, so it's going to require that extra memory and stuff like that. And so one thing to note about Vault 2017, it is not compatible with your Windows Server 2008 or Windows Server 2014, not yet anyways. So we recommend being on that Windows 2012, Windows 2012 R2 to be able to use this Vault server for those that use Vault Server Professional. For Vault Basic, you can use Vault's Windows 7 or 8 or 10 as well. But for those of you in Professional, please make sure you're on the right server, that your SQL servers are up to date as well, CPU types, and your memory. All of these things are very crucial and important to transitioning and making sure that your software will work with your hardware.
And I'll take this quick opportunity to also mention that it's been something that comes up quite frequently when we're talking about upgrades with customers, that they haven't looked at the system requirements just yet. That is a pretty big one for the Windows Server OS, so make sure you take a look at that before you start planning. And also, I'm happy to announce that we have some more service offerings, by the way, where we're able to help you care for your Vault, for example. And we also have training courses that we will start offering here really soon. Actually available now. So if you're interested in either one of those, please give us a call. Let us know if you want to know some more information about those offerings to make sure we make your transition as smooth as possible.
I just want to quickly add one last thing, just because 2017 is so new. There's actually an opportunity for you guys to, if you already installed it, to install a few updates. Autodesk is already pushing out. They have a few hot fixes out for you guys. So please take a look at those. If you guys have any questions on where to find it, I can show you guys that as well. So yeah, Nigel, if you have any questions.
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions. The first one comes from George, and George asks, does the migration affect any older versions installed on the particular computer?
And George, if you're talking about like performance and being able to use the product, no, especially for AutoCAD. But if you're using Inventor and you're trying to transition to 2017, what you'll find is that once you've done this file migration, is that you will no longer be able to use those files in 2016 or previous versions going back. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're going forward. If you have any projects that are left in 2016 and you have customers that are still using Inventor 2016 or 2015, to be compatible, you guys need to be on the same version, pretty much. This is something to keep in mind.
Something that, just to kind of follow that up too, something that gets asked a lot of times is if you can have multiple versions installed. You technically can, like let's say you want to leave 2016 installed for some time just to make sure everything did come across as you expected it to. You can have them both installed, but just like Daniel said, if you've saved it in 2017, you will no longer be able to use it in 2016.
For sure. Paul Bannister asks, how soon is an archive copy of today's session? How soon will that be available? So, as we do with every one of our AVA sessions, we go ahead and record them, and then we upload them to our YouTube channel. Most likely that'll be up tonight, sometime tonight. If you want me to go ahead, I'll actually go ahead and message you when that's done, Paul. I'll shoot you an email when that is completed.
And that'll be on the YouTube channel, so if you just go to YouTube, type in KETIV, you'll find it there, and you'll find the rest of our playlists as well for these virtual academy sessions.
And that is not the only content that we have on our YouTube channel, actually. We do have other things in relation to some of our training classes, some other custom tutorials as well. So if you want to go and check those out, those are there as well. And we have Jim asking a couple of questions here. The first question is, if we have Inventor and Vault Client 2017 on our workstations and the Vault server is still 2016, is it okay to do all of the migrating of our files?
Actually, you'll want to make sure Vault is on 2017.
On the server end?
Yeah, you'll have to
That's
do
very
that.
important, yes. Your Vault 2017 client will not connect to your Vault 2016 server.
Correct.
But it'll work the other way around.
Yes.
So if you have, what you have to do is you have to ensure that the Vault server is the newest thing, and then you can go back 1 year on your client or any of your CAD tools. And another question from Jim: will Inventor files always be migratable regardless of how old the version is of Inventor?
They will be migratable, yes. The only thing to keep in mind is depending on how far you went back, let's say it was 2013 or there was a major change in the materials, so you will have to take into mind that there was a change there. You might have to step those through.
Let's see here. And then Aaron has a question. This is actually kind of interesting. And he got a notification for a new desktop application. So what that is I'm sure a lot of you who are still on 2016 or prior have gotten notifications on your desktop saying that the application manager is changing. So that's actually the new desktop application that Autodesk is releasing in regards to sending out updates, service packs, etc. So we do suggest that you move to that because the application manager isn't necessarily going to give you those new updates. And if you do need some information on how to get that desktop app, you can go ahead and give us a call. You might have to install a 2017 product to get it if you closed out of all of those notifications.
And then just so you know, what that is the little thing that comes up in the system tray down at the bottom that lets you know there's updates, hot fixes, what's new. So the 2017 actually has a lot more information and it replaces what some of us might know as the old communication center, actually.
Another thing to know is if you guys have looked in there recently, there's actually the updates I was talking about. You'll find them in that desktop app. Specifically for Inventor, there was like a hotfix, AutoCAD as well. So that's a good place to look for those updates if you were interested in getting those hotfixes into your Inventor and AutoCAD.
For sure. And if you were with us a couple of weeks when Michael Mizuno introduced that in our What's New in AutoCAD 2017 session, he mentioned that they're going to start putting tutorials and other information, learning material there as well. So you can definitely do that when all of that starts rolling out. So we have another question from Chris, and Chris asks, all inventors are migratable. That is key criteria of every one of our releases. Even the material changes don't prevent the geometry and metadata from migrating. Right. So that's just to note in regards to that. If anyone else has any questions, go ahead and send those in. We've got a couple more. So Aaron asks, what does backwards compatibility look like on these new versions of software? You mentioned a little bit.
Yeah, we did mention this a little bit before. For AutoCAD, all of these files save to a drawing file type AutoCAD 2013, so they're backwards compatible and usable in previous versions. But Inventor is a little bit different, and so if you migrate to 2017, you will no longer be able to use these in 2016, 2015, or any previous version for that matter. Whatever the most current version of the product you open and save it in, that's the version, or at least later than that, you have to be able to use it in.
For sure. And then to add a little bit to that, while base AutoCAD is backwards compatible in regards to those file types and everything, when you start moving to some of the AutoCAD verticals, so for example, mechanical, civil 3D, and some of those other ones, those might not be backwards compatible. Although the AutoCAD functionality of those is some of those particular objects that you get when you move to those verticals, those might not move over to a previous version.
Yeah, there'll be proxy objects actually. So you want to make sure you have proxy objects on.
And if there aren't any more questions, I think that's it for today's session. Go ahead to the next. If you do have any more questions that you think of, feel free to contact us here at Lifeline at KETIV. That's lifeline@ketiv.com, or go ahead and shoot us a telephone call. We'll definitely take care of that for you. Also, there is a end of session survey that you can go ahead and answer. If there's anything you think of in there in regards to either that, questions you have about this webinar, past webinars, or even some suggestions for future ones, that's all in there. Definitely take a look at that, and we'll try to get one scheduled in the next couple of weeks in regards to that particular request. So you can stay connected with us here at KETIV. We're on all of the major social media websites, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We also have our KETIV blog, which we shoot out updates a couple times a week. That is blog.ketiv.com. Make sure to follow us there. And like I mentioned, all of the webinars are going to be recorded and placed on YouTube. You can find all that there. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you for coming back every week to one of these things. Today, we hit about 100 attendees, which is really awesome. We'd like to see that number maybe hit 200 in the next couple of weeks. So Jorge, I'd like to thank you for being here. Daniel, thank you again for presenting.
Thank you for having us.
I'm Nigel. That is how the cookie crumbles. Goodbye.